The rake tilted its head left, then right, as if curious. Then, "Hurrah!" A shrill scream tore through the forest. Ethan ran. That night, the air on the outskirts of Pinewood Forest felt colder than usual. Thick fog hung between the trees like a gray blanket covering the narrow path. Ethan, an adventurer who loved making nighttime exploration content, was setting up his camera in front of his car. "I'm going to prove that the scream that went viral yesterday was just an animal," he said confidently, though his eyes hinted at a bit of unease. For the past 2 weeks, Pinewood Forest had become the center of attention. Many residents claimed they heard heart-rending screams, sounding like a human, but not quite. Several livestock had gone missing, and there were reports of a pale figure running abnormally fast between the trees. The villagers called it by one name, the Rake. A humanoid creature crawling like an animal, its body thin, its eyes black and empty, its long claws sharp enough to tear skin with a single touch. Ethan took a deep breath and activated his camera. "All right, let's go in." The forest was silent. Too silent. No crickets, no snapping branches, only Ethan's breath and the faint hum of the camera recording. But 5 minutes in, something was heard. "Creak, creak." "Wind?" he muttered. But there was no wind that night. The fog stood still like a dead wall. Ethan turned to the right. The tall trees stood tightly packed, but there was a narrow gap between them. From there came the sound of quick movement. Tap, tap, tap. As if something was running, but crawling. Ethan swallowed. Okay, maybe a raccoon or a stray dog? But as he stepped closer, a rotten smell, like decaying flesh, hit his nose. What is that smell? Suddenly, the microphone picked up a sound. A breathing sound. Very close. Too close. Ethan pointed the camera toward the source, but there was nothing, only darkness and fog. He decided to continue forward, trying to remain professional even though his heart was pounding wildly. Soon he reached a small clearing. The ground was damp, as if it had rained a few hours before, but in the center of the clearing, it was clearly visible. 4 long grooves carved into the dirt. Claw marks, almost a meter long. "This isn't from any normal animal," he whispered, stepping back slowly. As he leaned in for a closer look, the camera captured something rushing behind him, something running through the forest, so fast it appeared as only a pale blur. "Hey, wait!" he shouted without thinking. A fatal mistake. The thing stopped, then turned back. The camera's light caught it. A pair of round black eyes peeking from behind a thick tree. A pale, thin body crawling on its elbows and knees. The Rake! "Oh my God!" he whispered. The creature didn't move. It stared at him like an animal assessing its prey. Suddenly, it crawled forward a little. Its movement was jerky, like its bones weren't properly connected. Ethan stepped back. The Rake tilted its head left, then right, as if curious. Then, "Hurrah!" A shrill scream tore through the forest. Ethan ran. He sprinted as fast as he could, the camera shaking violently. The sound of snapping branches and claws striking the ground echoed behind him. The Rake was chasing him. Its speed was unreal. Its movement sounded like a four-legged animal running, but sometimes like a human body collapsing and dragging itself along the ground again. "Why did I come here?" he screamed between breaths. He looked back for a split second. The creature was much closer now, crawling rapidly with its mouth wide open, its teeth black as if rotting. Ethan kept running and finally spotted an old wooden structure like an abandoned ranger post. Without thinking, he rushed inside and slammed the door shut. Inside, there was only a table, a chair, and a broken window. He switched off the camera's flashlight to reduce any visible light. Silence. Too much silence. He thought maybe the creature had left, but then the sound of claws scraping the wall echoed. Creak, creak. Ethan held his breath. The sound moved to the window. He slowly aimed the camera toward it, and there it was, its face pressed against the glass, grinning. The rake opened its mouth slowly, exhaling a long breath. The creature scratched the glass, leaving long grooves that broke the silence. Panicking, Ethan grabbed the table to block the door, then ran into the back room. He didn't know that the building had only one exit, and he had just trapped himself. The hallway was narrow. The smell of mold mixed with the lingering stench of rotting flesh carried by the wind outside. Ethan searched the room. Only a metal shelf, a few wooden crates, and a small ventilation panel. The Zent! Maybe I can get out. He tried to loosen the screws. They were rusty but still movable. As he worked, suddenly, silence turned into soft footsteps. Tap, tap, tap. Ethan froze. The footsteps grew closer and faster. He pointed the camera toward the hallway door. Only darkness. But from that darkness, two eyes slowly appeared, faintly glowing. The rake lowered its body, ready to pounce. Ethan screamed, "No!" The creature lunged. The camera fell to the floor, recording from a tilted angle. The pale creature's shadow loomed over Ethan. The room filled with sounds of scratching, breaking bones, and short, muffled screams. Then, silence. A few minutes later, the camera captured the rake approaching. The creature crawled slowly until its face was directly in front of the lens. It stared into the camera as if it understood what was being recorded. Then it opened its mouth and slashed the camera apart with its claws. The recording ended. 3 days later, the search team found Ethan's car by the forest road. The door was open, the flashlight still on, but Ethan was never found. What they did find was the broken camera tangled in a tree root. The footage went viral. The residents of Pinewood now share a new warning. If you see a pale figure crawling between the trees, do not run, do not scream, do not look into its eyes. Stay still, cover your ears, and hope it does not come closer. Because they know one thing, the rake doesn't like being chased. The rake loves to chase.